Hi, welcome back. I'm Chris Sikora, and I'm going to step you through exercise 19, which is a sheet metal design. And what we're going to do is we're going to build the enclosure around a computer, just like what you see up there. And so you can see it's an old computer, so I've been using it since, gosh, the early 2000s. But one of these days I think I'll update it, but it still does the job. Okay, so let's go ahead and find that. What you want to do is go to Vertanu 1. That's V as in Victor, E-R, T as in Tom, A, N as in Nancy, U, X as in X-ray, and 1.com. When you get there, go to Part Files, and the red column are the SolidWorks parts. So you're looking for exercise 19 parts. Go ahead and click on it and hit download. You can hit download up right there as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and open with Windows Explorer. And we could just select this all because this is compressed. Just click and drag across, copy, and now let's put them in our. Let's say I got on my desktop. Actually, on my documents, I've got the SolidWorks file somewhere. I'll just drop it on the desktop. Right-click, new folder, and we'll call this E19. Double click on the manila folder there, and then right click inside and hit paste. Okay, and then there's the exercise 19. You could go ahead and just double click on that and it should launch it. In this case, you could just hit use temporary replacement font and just hit OK. There's some sort of issues here. Hit close. That's all right. We'll just bypass that. All right, so here you can actually see the finished enclosure. Now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to miter around here, put the through holes in, and steal the information off the edges. Now, some of you are thinking, well, exercise 11 for the intro class, we did something similar. And we did, but we used the old tools, the tools that have been in SolidWorks since 1997. These tools are 21st century. They came out around 2000-ish or something. So they're still old, but they're the latest and greatest, and they work really well. So we're going to see how those work in the case of an assembly, top down, where we're actually creating the part inside the assembly. So let's go ahead and just click on that cover and click on Hide Component. All right. Now, to create that cover, let's go to Assembly, go underneath Insert Components at the little arrow and go to New Part. Just select the front plane to drop the new part in. Now let's go ahead and do a file, Save As, and we're going to give this a new name. And we're just going to call this the Cover 2. All right, and we're sketching actually coincident to this face. That's where everything was based off of. You would have to interrogate or look at the model a little bit to figure that out eventually. You just really look for the origin and find out where it's at. But let's go ahead and we're going to steal that edge right now. So select that face. And we want it to be the exact same size. So just go ahead and hit Convert Entities, and you'll see it will convert the edges. Now what we can do is let's zoom out, and we don't want it to go on the underside. We do want little fragments, but not the full bottom edge. So click on that bottom edge and hit Delete. And now zoom up to it and go to the line tool and add two little lines, one right there and one right here. And now let's make them equal. Control select them after you hit Escape and go with equal. And then just go to Smart Dimension and dimension one of them at 0.4. All right, so we have an opening because we wouldn't want it full cylinder. We have to have some sort of opening. All right, now we could go to bring up the sheet metal tool. So I'm going to right click on any tab, go to the tabs and find sheet metal. And find the sheet metal tab. Now you could go to Base Flange tab. Now if we zoom up, we can see it's extruding to the outside, or it's thickening. So we want it actually to thicken the other direction. So as far as sheet metal parameters here, 60 thousandths for the thickness, but hit reverse direction so it's on the inside. Now, instead of blind, select up to surface and zoom out And let's have it go right up to the surface right here on the back side. And you'll see it regenerates that, and it's nice and smooth. We could also look and see that it's a pretty tight closure there, a little bit of give, a little bit of space. And the radiuses are already in there, so this is pertinent to the radii that are going to be added later on, the 100,000ths. In fact, 100,000ths radius, that's okay. That's a bit big. Let's actually make that 60.06. All right, hit the green check. All right, so now we have our geometry here. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and I want to show you the, now there's a number of ways to do this. This is just one of them, but it's the miter flange. I want to show you how that works. Select that. Now, what you can do, what's really neat about this, is you're going to draw the profile of, like the side profile that's going to sweep along. So get down to this lower left edge and click near the end, but not on the end. What it does, and if you rotate it a few times, I think eventually the plane will show up if you have it turned on. But see, it put a point right there on that corner. Now we could go to the line tool and get the orange dot right there and click and drag it horizontal. You may have to actually verify that the little square is to the right of your pointer with the horizontal line. And about 0.5, like I have 0.6, that's fine. Hit escape. Now let's go to smart dimension. And just dimension it, we're going to make it a ½ inch flange. Okay, now we could go ahead and hit exit sketch. And it should just drag it all the way up. Now here's the thing. You could see it's bending inward like that, and it's actually intersecting the backside. So over here we have flange position. Go ahead and select material outside. Now if you wanted to add a little bit more distance, you could add bend outside if you didn't want it to be too tight. This is line to line, so we might actually want a little bit, but we'll leave it on that. That's fine. All right, and as we zoom out here, now you'll see there's this button. Go ahead and click on it. It follows the edge, and you see how it swipes all the way around. Okay, so we can see it automatically puts a little distance gap in there, and that's all over here. As we look at the gap distance, it's 10,000ths. That's what we're looking at there for the miter. If this radius wasn't here, if it was tighter, it'd be actually, you'd have it going in further, but that's part of the design. Okay, and you have offsets for start and end. Now there is this little fragment right over here, so to get rid of that, you just find it on this list and right click and delete that. Okay, and you'll see that it will update. We could also delete this one. We don't need to delete these because it started over here. Go ahead and hit the green check when you're ready. All right, so we have our flange wrapped around. Now we want to put those holes in. So select this face here, go to sketch, and let's go to hidden lines visible. Now, what you have to do is click on this first hole, but don't hold control, just click on that edge. Now we could go ahead and hold control on every additional hole. There's 3 holes on each side flange. And I'm just holding control for those. Now, be sure that this edge is not blue. If that edge is blue, hit escape and start over. Just start selecting again after you hold control. What I've had is students, and I've actually done it where I've selected this face and I convert that whole face, and then when I go to cut extrude, the whole flange disappears. So just be aware that that can happen. I'm going to hold control again and select this upper one. Oops, and see there, I accidentally selected the face. So I'm going to select it again, holding control, and then click on there. So I deselected it by selecting that face again. Okay, now we could just go to convert entities, and you'll see that it puts those in place. I'm going to go back to shade with edges, and we could see the circles that will be the holes here. So now we could go to features, extrude cut, and link to thickness, the green check. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in some little edges here. We're going to roll the sheet metal. So go ahead and select this edge right over here and find the sheet metal. And I want you to find, let's see here, hem. Okay, puts a big hem in there initially. We don't want that, but look at here. We have closed, teardrop, and then there's even rolled. But let's go with teardrop. And the default seems to do a really nice job here, 200 degrees, 15 thousandths. And over here, try selecting this bottom edge. Watch what happens. It rolls it in the other direction. So hold Control and deselect that edge. Then you could go ahead and just select this edge, fill it in. Okay, now we have nice rolled edges, so when the IT person goes to open the case, they don't cut their hand. Okay, so now that we have that, let's say we wanted to put in, let's see, actually that's it. Let's go to a drawing now for this. So save it, just hit the, let's go to File, Save As. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't want to save as. Cancel, 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 just save. All right, now we want to get out of editing that part. So right click on the top here. And, or I'm sorry, just go to Edit Component. Sorry, I get my CAD system's messed up here. Okay, so we have cover 2. Now to make a drawing that we could actually use like a DXF that we could cut out on a laser jet or water jet, go ahead and click on the cover and go to Open. And let's hide that plane. Click on that plane, just hide. All right, let's go to save it first. Go to File and make a drawing from part. Now, we want kind of as blank as we could get, and a big one at that. Go with the E size and turn off display sheet format. And let's go ahead and hit OK. All right, so this just gives us a blank sheet to that size. And now we grab the flat pattern here and we drag it in. And let's just hit Escape and then right click on the sheet and go to Properties. Make sure, see it's scaled it for us, so make sure it's 1:1 and hit Apply Changes. Now drag it back onto the sheet. All right, now sometimes even you might not want this information in here, and you could actually right click on this stuff and hide it. All right, I believe you could do it also from this drawing sheet here. Let's see. Thought there's another way to hide those. But anyhow, at this point we could, let's say we want some dimensions on it, some ordinate dimensions. We haven't really used ordinate dimensions much, so now we normally wouldn't want it if this is going to go to a shop as the DXF as is, but I want to show you some extra tools here while we're at it, because at this point you would just do a file, save as DXF, and then send it to the customer or to your fabricator. All right, so let's go with horizontal ordinate. Select this far left edge as our 0, drag it down, and every subsequent point, even the holes, you go ahead and click on those. Okay, so there we have some dimensions in ordinate style. And then you could just go to File and Save As. Yes, Update. And we save it as a DXF. Now, if you go to the options, and I've showed this in the exercise 11, so this might be a little bit of review for y'all. But you have the DXF DWG. You could select versions of like AutoCAD if you save it as a DWG that you might want to save it as. And again, export as splines or as polylines. Old machines pre 21st century might just want the polylines. All the new machines, as far as I know that I've seen, support both polylines or splines, and splines is actually preferable because it's a smoother transition. Because a polyline is a collection of little lines that make up what looks like a spline when you zoom out. Okay, now let's take a look. The next thing is this lab here. Let's go to File, New, Part, and hit OK. And I want to show you another technique. Now there's more sheet metal coming up in a few weeks here, but let's go ahead and select the front plane, start a sketch, and go to Circle and draw in a diameter here. Now we'll make that a 5 inches. Go to Center Rectangle, drag this out like so, and dimension it at 10, and then this here will be 2.5. Now what we can do, hit Escape, click on this edge here, and turn it to construction geometry. It's going to be an opening. Now go to the Trim Entities and select this and that, and the 3 little segments in between there. Stay away from the center line because that will remove that function. Now hit Escape. Now it might look like this isn't trimmed. Look what it is. It's just the radius or the diameter line. Okay, now that you have that, let's go to Features and, oh, not Features, I'm sorry, Sheet Metal, and go to Base Flange. Now, as we drag this out, let's have it centered. So instead of blind, go mid-plane and make it 2.5 inches, and then hit the green check. All right, and it is a sheet metal part. Let's go ahead and use our little trick again for the hem. Select the bottom edge here and change it to teardrop, and the top edge here, hit Apply. Let's try putting in, let's see here, a flange. Go to Flange, select this top edge, and drag it up. Click, Edit Flange Profile. Now, click on this corner, drag it in. Click on that corner, drag it in. Go to Smart Dimension. Let's give it a width of 1.5 and a height, oops, of 2. Draw a diagonal center line across to give us a center. And then go to Circle and find the midpoint, drag out and draw. Let's make this 0.75. Now, as far as here, look at that. We could actually see a preview of the conditions, and we discussed this and why you have these settings. Oops. And what those are. All right. Okay, and there we go. We seem to have gotten into a little bit of a mess here. Okay, my little profile sketch here was off the screen, so scared me there for a second. It was on the second screen. So here, once we got that profile, we can hit Finish Sketch. All right, and there's our flange. And remember that setting you could set to Brown. If you did want to, let's go to Edit Feature, and under Relief Type, check that box, and you could select Brown or Tear, and see how it puts a radius in for Brown. Again, that would be for like die cut. All right, now we want to mirror that across, so select the edge flange, hold Control, select the top plane, and go to Mirror, which is on the Features tab. Hit the green check. Let's say we want to cut a hole through here, start a sketch on that surface, and we're going to, again, draw a diagonal center line so that we can locate center easily. And I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to make that the same size. Holding control, I'll select this hole to that hole. So if we update one, they all update. And oops, it didn't make what I wanted there. Let's see, I was hoping it'd go with equal. Okay, that's all right. Let's just go ahead and make that 1 inch, actually. I go to features, extrude cut, and this one we want through all. We want on both sides. One other thing, let's select this face and go to start a sketch, go to the top view orientation, and let's go to the slot tools. We'll do a straight slot, infer to the origin from there to there, put that straight slot in. We could put a dimension. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, extrude cut, and through all both. All right, now the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and unfold this. If you go to sheet metal, you go to flatten, and there it is. Okay, now let's say we want to make some bending stages. Let's say you make progressive dies for a living, and you want to show the different bending stages. So let's save this, and we're going to save this as E19. All right, now what you do for bending stages is you could start off with the flat. So let's go to unfold. Let's pick this as our fixed face. Select all bends, hit the green check. So there it is, partially folded. And actually, let's add a configuration. We'll call it flat press 1. Okay, if we go to default here, let's just make sure that we go to fold, collect all bends, hit the green check. So the default is always folded. Now when we go here to flat press 1, we have the flat version. Let's add another one. Right click, add configuration, flat press 2. Now we could go to fold, and we could select specific things that we want to fold. Let's say we wanted to fold this one here and this one here. Hit the green check. Okay. So again, for progressive die design, you'd be able to say, okay, this is the first step, second step, third step, fourth step. Let's add another configuration. Now let's just double check. Go to flat press, go to default. Okay, let's go back to flat press 2, right click, add configuration, and we'll call flat press 3. And we'll go back to fold. And let's say this time we want these to fold up. And let's say maybe we're going to have these curl. Hit the green check. Okay, let's right click, add configuration, flat press 4. Fold, and we'll select these ones, the big ones now. Now again, I actually have not really worked in progressive die design, so I have friends in the industry, but this is probably not how they would do it exactly, but I think you guys at our industry would get how this works. Okay, and so look at that. We have the default, which is completely done. Flat press 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one. So there you go. And the way you would put those into a drawing, let's just save this one more time. go to File, Make Drawing from Part, and let's say we want, we'll go with a B landscape, hit OK. And we'll go ahead and grab the current. Oh, not the current. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Properties. I'm going to shrink this down. Let's make it a third scale. Okay, and I'm going to select that, Control C, click next to it, Control V, select Control V. All right, so here we'll click on this, and we could go with reference configuration, flat press 1. Click on this one, configuration, flat press 2. Click on this one, flat press 3. Drag this one over, flat press 4. And then we'll make one more click, Control V. There we go. And you can actually do what's called a parametric note as well, where it actually takes the information from the configuration. I'm not going to show that to you. It's been a while since I've done it, but I'm pretty sure it works. Okay, and that concludes exercise 19.